Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Cupid Parasite video. So we're going to be doing a Cupid Parasite today instead of a Code Realize because just doing 2-hour videos so far, 2 1-hour videos so far, is going to put me behind in finishing this game. I think with 2 more routes still to go, Alan's and the secret route, and the Bandits that I want to finish before October 15th. So we're doing another Cupid Parasite, and I want to try to make it go a little bit longer. I am starting recording earlier than yesterday. My husband is out doing errands, so I can record a little bit before he comes back. And we're starting off the episode exactly the way we did yesterday, with her waking up in Raul's home after spending the night. In the middle of the night, I woke up in a drowsy haze. I put my hand to my throat and exhaled. My throat was sore from last night. I was dying of thirst. I dragged myself out of bed and headed down to the kitchen. I took a drink of water, then sighed. The memory of what happened was still fresh in my mind. Raul hadn't said a word. He looked nervous, almost scared, the whole time we were together. But that was nothing compared to the heat, the pleasure, the passion. I was focused entirely on the act itself. I told him that he shouldn't be sleeping around so casually. No, but it didn't seem casual, so maybe that wasn't the right way to put it. The way Raul showed his desire for me, it was like I was the only one in the world for him. It wasn't like one of his normal flings. It was like he was desperate to keep me with him. It was completely different from before, but I don't know why. He was delicate and gentle last time, but this time felt much more pleasurable. my heart was pounding, so I couldn't calm down. It should have been the same, but for some reason it was different. Human behavior is so hard to understand. I just can't get a handle on it. I went quickly back upstairs and climbed back into bed, being careful not to wake him. He was deep asleep, like a little boy that's cried himself to sleep. His hands were clinging to the sheets tightly as if he were pleading. Was today about some kind of possessiveness? Maybe the thought that his mythology friends would take me from him and he didn't like that? Like a child afraid that someone's going to keep his favorite toy, he just wants to keep me all to himself. If that's the case, I need to make it clear to him that this isn't the way to make his feelings known. I get the sense that he really doesn't understand his own emotions, although I guess that goes for me too. I put my hand to my chest and touched my Cupid's bow. I've seen countless people in love, and that's not the emotion that was on display today. But then, what was it? Ultimately, the only thing I was feeling in that moment was exhaustion. Maybe I should try falling back asleep. Dawn was still several hours away. I closed my eyes, imagining myself as sleeping soundly till morning. The morning sunlight seeps into my closed eyes. Normally I feel refreshed in the morning, but today I feel sluggish. Everything felt so strange. My body had never felt so heavy just after waking up, but at the same time, I'd never felt so alive. I stretched and looked to my side. There she was. She was curled up in a fetal position, snoozing away like a small child. I couldn't explain what I was feeling. I'd never felt this way watching someone sleep before. What should I call this emotion? It wasn't like loneliness or pain. All I knew is I wanted to touch her. Instinct forced me to reach out and touch her hair softly so I didn't wake her. Another unknown feeling shot through me. I acted so strange yesterday. For some reason, I was filled with desire. That desire stayed with me the entire time we were together. She forbade me from making love casually, but in that moment my desire was anything but casual. That's why I did what I did.
Sensei.
I called out to her. That's really what she was, not just an advisor. I wanted her to teach me the names of these emotions. She's been my teacher in acting and my teacher in love, my Cupid.
Lynette.
I quietly called her name, which caused my heart to stir. But was that because I was happy or because I didn't feel right? I don't know. I don't understand any of this. I've traveled the world and met thousands of people. I've never felt this way after sleeping with someone. But what am I feeling, really? It's a little like that time I was lost in the desert. Like a nomad discovering an oasis, like a snake trying to swallow a mouse whole. That's how I wanted to make love to her. A snake trying to swallow a mouse whole. Devour her. Oh my goodness. This was all new to me, but it felt so good. I thought I knew how good sex could feel, but now I was overwhelmed by some new sensation. In that moment, that's all I knew for sure. I stood up and stretched. I felt heavy, tired, hungry. I almost never feel this sluggish. I exercise every day, and I've always been able to keep my energy high, even with a tough schedule. I felt something big pass through my body. Whatever, I should make breakfast. Once she wakes up and we eat together, I can talk to her about yesterday's meeting. That must be it. I've never had someone I wanted to call mine before. If this feeling has a name, it must be happiness. Or love.
そういえば、好きな食べ物って何なんだろう?
Now he's actually thinking of what she wants instead of just making whatever he feels like. And now I'm thinking about what someone else likes. Another first for me. I called it. Is it because I want to reward her? Because I respect her? Or because I just like her? I don't know. In any case, I should make the best breakfast ever. Once my teacher wakes up, she'll probably get really mad about yesterday. Stop calling her teacher. Just call her Lynette. Get really mad at you. Well, at least you're aware of it. Oh, we don't even get to figure out what she thinks. Well, fine. After leaving Raul's place, I was in the office today to submit my weekly report. Sigh. I finished up my work, then collapsed into my desk exhausted. The past few days have been so hectic. That morning I ate breakfast with Raul. Just as I was about to really lay into him, I remembered I had to come into the office. She was going to yell at you. Thanks to the feeling of shame, I practically ran out of his house. I went to my place to get dressed. Out all night again. Clarice was surprised to see me when she walked in. I rushed out again. I updated everyone on Raul's current situation, then had a meeting with his agent. I'm so tired.
Chi?
Just then, Chi rushed over to me. Since I'd been spending so much time around other people, I hadn't seen him in a while. Chi, let me use you for a minute. Poor Chi. I grabbed him and shoved his horn into my shoulders for a deep massage. I haven't felt this in a while. He's like, don't use me. He fidgeted and tried to resist, but the electric pulses kept on coming. I used his flow of electricity to massage my stiff shoulders and thought about the meeting from before. Raul's agent was satisfied that there weren't any issues at the moment, so she was happy to renew our contract. In other words, I would continue as an on-site advisor to coach Raul. I wonder if this is really all right. I know. He's spending the night with him, like, twice a week. It's true that it's my job to teach him the ways of romance and how to behave when you're in love, but still, I don't think sleeping with him is a part of the contract. Thought about what happened last night and I felt another wave of shame come over me. I was fine the first time we slept together, but that was to prove it really wasn't anything special. Last night, though, that was something special. That's why I felt embarrassed and nervous. That's why my body felt so heavy. That's something Cupid just shouldn't do. Cupid's job is to connect people. I shouldn't be involved in love itself because it's bound to throw me off.
百面相してどうしたの?
Ah. A voice suddenly called out, and I jumped in surprise. I was so lost in thought, she caught me completely by surprise. And then my own shout startled Chi, who really was quite sensitive. Can I say something? Never mind. I'm not gonna say anything. It goes into spoiler territory. Anyway. Sorry about that cheat.
ずいぶんぼーっとしてるのね。ショルダーバッグを落とさないように押さえてるみたいな変なポーズしてたし。何かあった？
Huh? No, nothing happened at all. Nope. That look, she's like, I don't think so. Clarice grinned playfully and just looked at me. It was like she was telling me she knew exactly what was going on.
首、跡ついてるわよ。
You have a hickey on your neck. You've been caught. I covered my neck with my hand. Clarice laughed loudly, then clasped both hands over her mouth. She probably just said that to get your reaction, and you reacted exactly how she expected. Wait, what do you mean?
跡がついてるなんて嘘よ。でも思い当たる節があるってことは、ついにあなたもやっちゃったのね。
You're one of us. You were messing with me?
だってあなたったら昨日の夜帰ってこなかったし、もしかしてそうなのかなって。ケーキ買って帰らなきゃ。
Hey, stop it. It was just a mistake.
あら、でも経験できたのはおめでたいことよ。違う？
Hope she makes the mistake and says, no, that wasn't my first time. Huh? So, you think this is a good thing, Clarice?
ん？当然よ。だって気持ちいいし、ハッピーになれるじゃない？
Oh, I wish you would have said it. Well, maybe.
え？もしかして相手の男、下手だったの？
No, not at all. He was pretty skilled, I think. Wait, why am I talking to you about this?
ごめんごめん。でも上手ならよかった。もっと気持ちよくなる方法、いっぱい伝授してあげなきゃね。
You know, this fruit is going to ruin the word pleasure for me, and I'm just going to, like, hate that word from now on. Gonna bring back Cupid Parasite memories. I think I'll pass on that.
だってこれは人類の英知よ。知らなきゃ損だって私は思うわ。ま、今晩よければ詳しく話聞かせて。
I hope she really does tell her that's Raul. There's no juicy details to talk about. I need to get back to work. I turned away from Clarice to face my computer. I didn't think she would find out that quickly. She didn't even notice after my first time. I guess my first time and yesterday really were different somehow. Yeah, you got that look all over your face. I need to think about why, but this lingering sensation on my body is totally clouding my thoughts. I managed to finish my task for the day. I felt exhausted as I left the office. Just then I spotted someone who was completely out of place.
Hi, Q-chan.
You probably went and told on you to your aunt. Huh? Lady Minerva? It was the goddess Minerva, one of the diconsonants. She's the goddess of war and wisdom, and she's also my aunt. She was just standing there waving at me. What are you doing here? This is bad, isn't it?
Q-chan が心配で来ちゃった。今帰り？ちょっとだけお話ししない？
Well, Clarice had said she wanted to go buy a cake and to eat at home. But there is still time before dinner. I double-checked the time and then nodded. But no more than an hour.
了解。じゃあそこのカフェでちょっと話しましょう。ウインナーコーヒーも飲んでみたいわ。
Speaking of coffee, I have coffee right now, and I'm very happy. I went and got a Dutch roast coffee that I haven't had in a really long time. It was worth it. Aunt Minerva took my arm as we walked. I started thinking about what everyone talked about at the Mythological Society. I recalled all the theories they covered, but none of them would ever have expected an actual god to be in their own neighborhood. I know, right? Or even at their own meeting.
それでどう？元気？
Fine, I guess.
あそこの人、
すごい格好してるね。コスプレ？なんかイベントあったっけ？
She sticks out like a sore thumb. When gods descend, they can take the form of humans or they can remain as gods that are invisible to people. Aunt Minerva wanted to talk to me, so she took the form visible to humans, but she was wearing the same clothes she normally did. They probably think there's some strange girls' night out going on. Looking around, some of the people staring at her actually seemed to be into it.
でもハロウィンっぽくて可愛いよね。どこでああいうの売ってるんだろう。
I'm pretty sure these exact same lines were in another route. Maybe Gills.
私もああいうの着てみたい。
Apparently it came off as some kind of fashion statement. Lost Yorkers really are accepting of anything. What about you, Lady Minerva? How have you been? I turned back to her to see her nodding enthusiastically.
元気よ元気。それより Q ちゃんの方が調子変じゃない？何かあった？
I think just Claire's blabbed to her. What? Strange, you think so?
ここに来るまで返事が適当だったじゃない？ぼーっとしてるなって気になったのよ。
Clarice wasn't the only one who could tell. Aunt Minerva could obviously tell I was acting weird too. It really seemed like what happened yesterday had changed me. Looking at her face, I was reminded of the statue of at Raul's place, the one that looked exactly like her. He said it was a statue of Neptune, but it's obviously the goddess Minerva, which didn't exactly help me relax. I had slept with him twice there now. The statue had nothing to do with it, but it still made me feel awkward somehow.
まさか恋でもした？
No, it's not love. That much was definitely true, but it wasn't just some random activity like going to the gym. If I had to say, it was something on the verge of being special. It wasn't love, but it was making love. Lust and true emotions were the same. That was Raul's outlook, and yet I found myself feeling lost and confused. Aunt Minerva, can I ask you something?
あら、私に答えられることならいくらでも聞いて。
Well, have you ever done it?
何を？
Oh, come on, you're not that naive, right? Well, you know, made love. As I continued mumbling under my breath, Aunt Minerva spat out her coffee.
なに Q ちゃん、ついにやっちゃったの？
I guess Clarice didn't tell her. Shh, not so loud. But yeah, I mean, it just kind of happened. But that's not the point. What I want to ask is, what's the difference between love and lust? Lady Minerva is the goddess of war and wisdom. She's been a god for much longer than me, that's for sure. So it makes sense for her to know more about this than me. I looked at her with desperation in my eyes. Well, she's watched all those romance movies, right? Mom, Dad, even Lord Jupiter have experience with that stuff, right? But this was my first time, so I don't get it. I always thought that they were connected. If you were in love, if you wanted to do the deed, but only after you were in love. But down here, people say that you can do it with someone that you don't love, that you can do it just to feel good, so I don't know. What's the difference between doing it with someone you love and someone you don't? Or is it just all the same?
あら、なるほどね。肉欲と愛が無関係かどうかか。一言では説明はできないけれど、まあ好きな人とやると最高に気持ちいいってことだけは確かよ。
Someone you love. Oh wait, are you saying you've been in love before?
そりゃ当然よ。何年生きてると思ってるの？
Spring chicken. No, that's true. We don't really keep track of time in Celestia, but after being down here, I got a sense of just how old gods could be. But Minerva presides over war, wisdom, and even medicine. She's been worshipped for thousands of years.
好きな人とやるのは最高よ。身も心も満たされるっていうのはああいうことを言うんだと思うわ。たとえ何千年経っても記憶に残るような特別な出来事よ。 もちろんあの人は確かに上手な人だったけれど、もう何千年経ったかしら。それでも昨日のことのように覚えているわ。あの人の声、眼差し、ぬくもり、どれも忘れられない。私にとって一番大切な記憶よ。
That's all we really need to know, though, okay? She stared into the distance as she recalled that memory. It made her look like a much younger woman. It was the face of someone still in love. I had no idea how many millennia it had been, but that much was obvious. She must really be devoted to that love. Seeing the sight of her was really surprising. It made me want to reflect on how I should act. Compared to her dedication, I'd already gotten myself in some casual fling. I guess I shouldn't sleep with him so casually. It feels nice, so it's hard to resist. That sort of feeling has already taken root in me. But it should start as a special, wonderful emotion like Aunt Minerva described. It should be a sacred act. Cupid can't be involved in such indulgence. Next time I need to clarify and forcefully say no. I need to bid farewell to that relationship of lust. I won't allow myself to use the excuse of pleasure. The next time I see Raul, I'm going to beat into him what it means to love someone. Aunt Minerva was still talking about her first love, and I thought all about that as I looked at her. He's off in Cloud 9. Sillywood filming location for Goddess Upon a Camel Part 2, a photo shoot for an interview article.
はい、ラウルさん。じゃあお次はちょっと寂しげな表情ください。
Make a sad expression.
はーい。
That's not sad. Oh, there you go.
あ、それいいですね。そのままそのまま。
I don't know if that's sad though. It's just normal. That's the look he got on his face when he got possessive over her.
やっぱり変わった。ラウル、いい表情するようになったわ。
Maybe he's thinking about the time where he did take her away. That was the expression he used.
やっぱり特別講師の演技指導がいいのね。いえ、お相手に良かったのかもしれないわ。身元がきちんとしていて趣味が合う年の近い女性。彼女ならラウルの恋のお相手にぴったり。
Oh, really?
私の判断は正しかったわ。
Are you rooting for her? Are you going to be for their relationship? Or are you going to be against it?
でもあと一歩なのよね。今までみたいに体の関係だけではなさそうだけど、恋にまではいけてないみたい。
It's funny. The one who's playing Cupid for Cupid is his agent.
アドバイザーさんとはこの間面談したけど、あの子も意外と真面目なのよね。ラウルを前に恋してくれてないし、身元の確かな相手とデートを楽しんで、その極意が分かったら別れるぐらいがベストって初回面談時に伝えたんだから察してほしいものだわ。
I think that one's gone over my head even. I don't...
ラウルに恋を教えてみせますなんて言ってて、あんた仕事第一なのね。それはまあ助かるんだけど。
Does she want her to fall in love and then break up? If so, you're still the antagonist.
もうちょっと二人が仲良くならないかしら。ラウルにもっと勉強に誘うように言っておかなきゃ。
I don't think he needs any encouragement. He's already done that on his own. A few days later, you know, this bothers me every single time now, but the mountain is just like floating in the sky. But whatever. Raul's agent told me to head to the Sillywood set instead of our normal rehearsal space. They're going to start filming Goddess Upon a Camel Part 2.
Ohayo, sensei.
Oh, what'd you do to your hair? He slicked it all down. He looks different. This looks like a brother. Good morning, Raul. I hadn't seen him face to face since that morning. Because of that, our greeting was awkward to say the least. But as the excitement of the work overcame us, the awkwardness fell away. He put on his work face and we got to it. After he got out of makeup, he was like a different person. Maybe it's just me, but he seems way different from normal. The silhouette actor Raul Aconite. In that moment, he was truly an actor and not the obsessed parasite that I knew.
それでさ、先生、ここのセリフの言い方また変えてみたんだけど、撮影入る前に見てもらっていい？
Sure, I'd be happy to. The script was covered in handwritten notes. I had to stand on my tiptoes to lean in to read. He read a few lines, and I gave him detailed notes for each one. You should pause before you say her name. Don't blink when you say you love her. Things like that. As Cupid, I was familiar with these little human habits. I did my best to give him all the knowledge I could before filming, but those are just the tips and tricks. It would be best if he could experience those things firsthand. I'm guessing the silhouette actresses he slept with so far were never really interested romantically. That was the impression I'd gotten when I talked to them at the party. But I thought about Emma Winston and decided to hope for even a sliver of hope. I recalled those beautiful lips as she smoked. She mentioned that you could never be successful without technique. I couldn't imagine her being in a loving romantic relationship. Oh, but if it's just a one-sided romance, he could experience a broken heart too. Wait, Cupid should be thinking about that kind of scenario. I want people to experience the joy of love, the happiness of loving and being loved. Otherwise, I'm not fulfilling my role. And yet, imagining Raul being close to someone else, smiling at them innocently, caused a strange reaction inside of me. What was that? What was I feeling just now? It begins.
よし、じゃあ撮影に入ろう。みんな、位置についてくれ。
The director's voice echoed and Raul's shoulders drooped in disappointment.
タイムオーバーだ。じゃあ、行ってくるよ。
He handed me the script and then put his hands together and stretched. I'm sure you'll be fine, Raul. I'll be watching from here.
うん。ありがとう、先生。
He smiled and ran off. Watching him go, he really did have the aura of a true silhouette actor. He's a mythology enthusiast and seems almost otherworldly. His sense of ethic is a bit off, of course, so it was easy for me to forget he was a movie star. I watched him get ready for filming along with the rest of the staff. I hope he knocks this performance out of the park.
じゃあ行くよ。シーン3アクション。
ミヤ！さっきの男は何なんだ？俺との約束は嘘だったのか？
バカ言わないで。彼は仕事相手よ。それぐらいで嫉妬しないで。
嫉妬？違う。俺はただ。
私を独り占めしようとしないで。私にはキャリアがあるのよ。
それは俺より大切なものなのか？
Wow, he's really amazing. He looked like he was losing his grip on sanity, a man in pain clinging desperately to his love. His acting conveyed it all. His eyes were the same way during the Mythological Society meeting. Watching him made me feel restless. But it's good that his acting is getting better. That's right. He was just acting, just putting my advice into practice. I decided to assume that was all. I watched with bated breath along with everyone else. Before long, they finished filming the scene.
オッケー！今の表情いいな、ラウル。パーフェクトだよ。
よかった。
Thank goodness. The filming was off to a good start. I let out a sigh of relief. They continued on with other scenes that had to be filmed on the same set. So, movies don't film in order of the script. They can't keep the same set forever, so it makes sense that they can't go in order. I was thinking about how tough it must be when I noticed Raul staring at the lead actress. The next scene was set earlier in the story when the two of them were on a date and are first getting romantic. She's gonna get all jealous during this.
OK、今日はここまでにしよう。みんな、お疲れ。
Aw, I wanted to see it. Dang it.
お疲れ様です。
To call out concluded the day and everyone relaxed. The director went up to Raul and patted him on the shoulder.
いやー、ラウル、最高じゃないか。見違えるようだよ。特に嫉妬の演技がいいね。
よかった。ありがとうございます。
と言っても、まだ恋の演技はまずいな。もう少し一途でピュアな感じで頼むよ。
Yeah, he hasn't got there yet. He hasn't experienced love. He's experienced jealousy for sure.
ラストに撮るクライマックスシーン、特に恋の要素が強いから期待しているよ。
そうですよね。はい、勉強しておきます。
His expression of love still needs work. The director was right. He was still playing it safe. I had to admit that it wasn't as good as it could be. He's getting better little by little, but he still feels a bit too casual. In the scene where he meets the heroine, Mia, the way he hits on her was more like a casual encounter than a sincere desire. And when he confessed his feelings for her, there was no sense of innocence or excitement that comes with newfound love. He knew how comfortable Raul was with telling someone that he was into them or going in for an embrace. But because he had so many casual encounters in life, his mind was the complete opposite of innocent. He hadn't been doing that kind of thing lately, but old habits die hard. In order to present that kind of innocent love, he would have to come to understand what romance really was. As his on-site advisor, it was my job to teach him the ABCs of pure love. That's Cupid's one true duty. I tried to recall all the couples I'd seen while I was in Celestia in search of what I should say to Raul. Speaking of, I don't know if there's any choices in this one or not. Like a muffin stuck in your throat. That's really funny. Let's see. So yeah, there's a choice in the next one, but that's like a muffin stuck. Are you talking about the lump that's in your throat when you're like so choked up you don't know what to say? Well, at least the value of making love wasn't like experience. They were just talking about it the whole time. The next day, filming experienced some difficulties. Oh no.
待ってくれ、ミア。どうして置いていくんだ。そんなに仕事が大切なのか。またこんな結末なのか。俺はいつもダメだ。俺には。
ストップストップ。はあ、今のもちょっとイメージと違うんだよな。
すみません、何度も。
いや、ま、うちの撮影なんていつもこんなもんだ。気にするな。でもな、もっと恋の深みが欲しいんだよ。
恋の深みですか。
そう。今のだとお気に入りのおもちゃを取られてダダをこねてる子供みたいに見えるんだ。執着は出てるんだけどかっこよくない。大人の色気と捨てられた男のダサさみたいな。いや、それはちょっと違うな。でもまあ、とにかく恋の深みだよ。まあ、続けて何度も撮ってるし、火の位置も変わってきたからな。ラウルのシーンは今日はここまでにしようか。じゃあ次はシーンない。ミアが一人で食事をするシーンを撮ろう。
The director clapped his hands to signal everyone to begin preparing for the next scene. This scene only had the leading actress by herself, so that was it for Raul for the day.
また迷惑かけちゃったな。
How does he so easily put his hair back into place? Raul got changed and appeared with a troubled look on his face. Good work today.
先生、俺の恋の演技どこがダメかわかる？
As he stood in front of Mie, I compared his performance with his co-star. I think it's because you haven't really developed your own sense of values when it comes to love.
恋愛か。
Like in the fourth scene, it didn't feel like a moment between lovers. It was too friendly. It needed more genuine simplicity. It was obvious that the man had the other woman on the side. He didn't seem like he needed the heroine. You're playing a man that only has eyes for her, but she chooses her work over you. That's where the emotional value comes from.
そうだよね。
Oh, and your eyes don't look like they're in love.
目
When someone experiences passionate love, their eyes sparkle, like the other person is all the stars in the night sky.
キラキラってこんな感じ
Funny. They put literal stars in his eyes. Ra opened his eyes wide in an effort to make them sparkle, but they didn't feel like eyes of someone in love. If I had to put it into words, you're thinking about mythology right now, aren't you?
バレたか
Exactly. I knew it. That's exactly the same face he makes whenever he talks about mythology. Raul the obsessed parasite. His expressions are bright when he's talking about his obsessions.
でもな神話のことを考えている時以上に目が輝くことなんてないんだけど
Well, for any normal person, being in love is what does it. It's because you've only had casual encounters your entire life. No amount of one-night stands will get you any closer to understanding true love. You've still never been in love, right?
そうだね少なくとも先生が言ってたみたいな複雑な感情とか苦しさとかはまだ感じたことないかなでも嫉妬とか独占欲とかはちょっと分かった気がするんだ前はそれすらなかったから
Raul smiled softly as he looked at me. My heart skipped a beat. I got the sense that last comment was directed at me after he dragged you away from the meeting. Jealousy and possessiveness. It's because of that last meeting, isn't it? I still haven't talked to Raul about that day. I couldn't bear to bring it up because it was so embarrassing. The mood suddenly turned awkward, so I had cleared my throat. Well, if you fall in love with someone nice, you'll understand. And as your Cupid, I'll be on the lookout for that moment. The problem right now, though, is that you aren't able to meet anyone, that and you don't seem to need to fall in love. This is all for the lessons and for his acting. Raul doesn't seem to have any desire to fall in love.
確かに恋が何なのかわからない以上したいって気持ちにもならないよね仕事がなきゃ恋しようとすらしなかっただろうしだって恋って面倒なんでしょ趣味について考える時間が減るし生産性がないってみんな言ってるよ
Nobody you know? You mean all your Sillywood actor friends?
そうそうスタッフたちが話してるのもよく聞くよ今は仕事一筋で行きたいから恋はパスって俺も恋をしたせいで石像を磨いたり文献を読む時間が減るのは嫌だしな
I don't like how he thinks that love can be a pain. It's true that the recent decline in marriage rates are partially due to that way of thinking among humans. Back in Celestia, the couples that separated after I brought them together would often say they wanted to focus on work or hobbies. But I'm here right now to stand up against that cultural shift. It does have value. In my humble opinion, it's incredibly wonderful.
そうなのかな
Don't you have any longing for love? After all those myths and stories you've read, don't you want to experience it for yourself?
でも神話って意外と描写はあっさりしてるよね一目惚れしてとか怪物退治したら嫁にもらったとかばっかで
I wish I could say that he was wrong about that. I'm sure there was more to it, but they didn't have paper back then, so you had to get to the point right away.
ああでもキューピッドに恋の矢を打たれてみたいとは思うよクレタの王妃がお牛に恋できるぐらい強力なパワーなんでしょ
Well, you may not get struck by her physical arrow, but she'll get you by the end of this. Well, I can't deny that's how the story goes at least. This is so annoying. Hearing him talk like that made it sound like my dad was completely right. I can hear him now. I told you so, young one. But this is where my skills as an advisor come in. I have to prove to him that he can learn to love even without Cupid. Well, what about romantic movies or novels? Have those ever made you want to see what it's like to be in love?
実は今まで一回もそういう経験ないんだよね。恋愛映画見てても違うとこが気になっちゃうし。
He snoozed during the love scenes. What other stuff?
このロケ地ギリシャだな。近くにゼウスの神殿があるんだよなとか。
He was admiring the architecture. Alright, keep an eye out for bas-relief carvings in the background or statues of Nike, things like that. Nike, you mean?
そう、ナイキと言ったら勝利の女神。ニケって言った方が一般的かな。
That's the last thing you should be looking for in a romantic movie.
そうなんだよ。そっちばっかり気になって恋愛シーンに全然意識向かないんだ。
Sigh. It's not like I didn't know that already, but all I can do in that moment was sigh. How could someone who doesn't understand the wonder of romance movies star in one himself? This was a bigger problem than I realized. Even though he really had no experience with romance, I thought he would understand its entertainment value if nothing else. Alright, then let's watch some romantic movies together to learn more about them.
え、本当？じゃあローマの。
But I'll be focusing on the romantic plots, and no mythology talk. One mythical word and I'm out of there.
え？そんな。
You broke him. Raul fell to his knees. Forbidding any talk about mythology must have been a real shock to his system. Well, if you really don't want to, I just won't do it. What'll it be? I glanced at Raul, who was still on his knees. He forced himself back up and dusted himself off.
いや、やりたい。先生、お願いします。俺に恋の楽しさを教えてください。
That was so adorable, the way he asked that. The look on Raul's face was serious. It wasn't the usual relaxed feel he gave out. He really does want to learn from me then. I smiled in response. Alright, then let's go rent some movies. I'll pick out the very best of the best. We went and picked out a bunch of different movies and headed to Raul's place. We piled up the movies we rented and I thought about which one to watch first. Let's go with the standard passionate love. Instead of the movies that were like a tug of war, I thought it would be better to experience a fateful romantic life. Now, should we go with a happy ending or a tragic one? I think Raul might understand tragedy better, in which case, I picked up 3 choices. Okay, so the correct answer is Moulin Rouge, and I don't think there's a save here, so let's just go with all of them. These are all tragedies, huh? The Pretty Prince. Let's start off with Pretty Prince.
あれ？それってアナが出てるティーンズ向けの映画じゃなかったっけ？あまり今回の役には参考にならなさそうだけど。
Huh? Oh, that's what this one is? The one I was thinking of also had a 2-word title, but I tried to remember which movies I'd watched with Emma Minerva. I read each movie's synopsis until I found the right one. Sorry, this is the one I was thinking of. Let's watch Moulin Rouge. It's a true romance with all kinds of tough obstacles. Alright, go back up. Bridal Battle. Let's start off with Bridal Battle.
恋愛映画なのにタイトルはバトルなんだね。それなら俺も得意かも。花嫁のガータを狙って参列男性たちが熾烈な争いを繰り広げるとか？
Oh my goodness. Huh? I thought this was a tragedy, so that kind of battle seemed pretty unlikely. The having battle in the title did seem kind of odd. I read the synopsis on the back of the box. A star-studded comedy where 2 men battle for love. During the ceremony, the sweating ain't big enough for the 2 of us. I think I made a mistake. I looked through the stack of movies again in search of the tragedy I watched with Aunt Minerva. Moulin Rouge. Okay, let's go back up. Alright, I'm gonna go with Moulin Rouge. Let's kick off things with this one, Moulin Rouge. It's a true romance that shows how to deal with all kinds of tough obstacles. Aunt Minerva and I watched it a bunch in Celestia. They knew they shouldn't be together, but they were in love. Everyone objected. They broke up, but knew they'd be together again. It was the perfect example of what romance should look like.
へえ、これ有名な作品だよね。見たことなかったけど気になってたんだ。
Pay attention to how they use their eyes, okay? And I'll pause here and there to explain the change in their emotions.
はーい、先生。俺もコーヒー用意しといたよ。
Speaking of coffee, my husband told me just not too long ago that he gets this one coffee at work, vanilla espresso, and he says it's like the best thing he's ever had. So I think my husband is slowly turning into a coffee person. He's going to skip the morning soda. Like, he usually brings the soda to work. He's going to skip the morning soda in exchange for coffee at work. I look down to find a fresh brewed coffee and French pastries waiting on the table. Wow, this looks delicious.
映画を見るならこれでしょ。本当はワインがいいかなって思ったけど、今日は勉強会だからさ。
You definitely made the right choice. When it comes to studying, Raul is an undeniably diligent student. Since I know what he's like, I was able to talk to him honestly without holding back, despite what had happened between us. I'm still a bit nervous since I'm at his house. No, he can just attack you whenever he wants. But there was no reason to think things would get either hot or heavy. I pressed play and sat on the couch, feeling at ease. No reason, huh? I mean, his emotions seem to change quickly. The company logos came and went, and the intro music started to swell. Our film screening had officially began. It started off with a simple setting description: Paris, 1899.
あ、今の見た？さっきの建物の窓飾りがキューピッ。
If you want to start talking about mythology, I'm perfectly happy to go home and leave you to it.
なんでもないです。
Paris, 1899. Our lover's romance begins in hilly Montmartre. Look at their faces. See how he gazes at her when he first sees her? It's clearly love at first sight for him.
なるほど。確かに恋に落ちたのはわかるね。なんで落ちたのかはわからないけど。
It's up to you to make the audience forget about why. As long as the emotion comes across, the reason doesn't matter. That's how important the scene is. You have to tell the audience that you fell in love at this moment, or the story won't make sense.
この俳優はそれに成功した。だからこの作品は多くの賞を取ったし、今も愛されているってわけだ。
Yep, that's exactly right.
なるほど。責任重大だね。
Raul smiled playfully, his eyes still glued to the screen. He really seems interested in the movie now. It had somehow suddenly motivated him as an actor. He finally saw the importance of portraying love. He realized that this was why the director kept having him redo his scenes. From that point on, he didn't mention mythology a single time. He watched quietly and listened carefully to my explanations. A few times he acted out the lines from the movie to himself.
この世で最高の幸せは君を愛すること、君と共に生きること。
That was the line from the movie, word for word, but for some reason when Raul said it, something felt off. He seemed to realize it too. He placed his hand over his mouth and turned his head to the side, thinking it over.
この世で最高の幸せは、いや違うな。全然違う。
He stared at the screen and frowned. I could tell he was completely serious about figuring it out. Raul Aconite is an action star. His agent told me he is best suited for roles where he can utilize his own personal experiences. So if he could have a kind of virtual personal experience through these movies, that could really be useful to him. As I watched him work, I prayed that he could develop a true longing for love. Maybe you should put in some extra effort. And then we watched all the movies together, back to back. When we arrived at the 5th movie of the night, in that last scene, his actual words were pretty strong, right? But more than anything, he was expressing regret. Oh, and here the man is expressing his own eternal strife. That might be a good reference point for you. Huh? Is he falling asleep? All of a sudden, something soft yet heavy plopped down onto my head. You just pass out. That's cute. He fell asleep. Raul's head was laying on mine. The end credits finished, and in the black reflection of the screen, I could see Raul fast asleep. His breath slowed. He was clearly in a deep sleep. That's when I remembered. That's right, Raul started filming really early this morning. His agent told me during the shoot that it was tough because Raul was filming for another thing really early. Yeah, you must be really exhausted, Raul. And yet, he was willing to study all these movies with me. I'm sure he was most irritated at his own acting. Raul Aconite is serious and sincere about his work after all. His head suddenly felt heavier. My heart started beating faster. That subtle movement gave me the impression of desire. Our bodies were touching and I could feel his close body heat. He was warm and heavy, but heavy in a way that I found comforting. I leaned back against him so that we were each supporting each other. He seemed so young and innocent, a man that doesn't know love, but I still didn't know that much about him. For one thing, I don't know anything about your childhood. I whispered that, half to myself. The only response from him was more soft breathing. He never talks about his private life, it's just always mythology. There was nothing about him personally he would ever mention. Normally when he was awake he was innocent, sincere, and friendly, but he refused to rely on anyone. He didn't really refuse anyone, but he never changed anyone either. That told me he didn't mind being alone. Just like the action movies he's in, he has the strength to overcome any difficult obstacles. Up until now, I hadn't really realized it, that he had never relied on me or tried to get my attention. Even when making love, he went for the most straightforward moves like a trainer at a gym. He found the most pleasurable areas and focused on those. And when I woke up the next morning, he was back to his normal casual self. This was the first time he's ever shown any kind of vulnerability. It was clear that he has started to feel more relaxed around me. That made me kind of happy. I could hear his quiet, regular breathing. I just sat there listening as I leaned against him. I woke up on the couch. There's a blanket draped over me. I have absolutely no idea what happened. I looked at the clock. It's only 10 o'clock. I suddenly felt my stomach grumble and remembered I hadn't eaten dinner. Just then I heard footsteps near the window. My eyes opened wide at the sight of her there. It needs something else. She was messing around with the Mars statue. Apparently she had just finished putting my hat on it. Next, let's try this. She's dressing up Mars. She grabbed a pair of nearby sunglasses and stuck them on the statue. I couldn't see her face, but she seemed to be having fun. Haha, now that looks much more like Mars. The face was totally wrong, so I had to take care of that. Next up is... She was humming to herself as she crouched down next to the statue of Neptune. The section here is totally wrong, I think. She looked at the Minerva statue, turning her head from side to side. Such a cute little movement. I wanted to run over and hug her, but I had to hold myself back. I didn't want to stop her from having fun with the statues. If she was eager to interact with them even without me, she must be a true enthusiast. With any other girl, it was clear that they only pretended to like mythology when I was around. As a Sillywood actor, it was impossible to meet a girl that truly loved a miss. I was always let down in the end. Any girl that was interested in me just pretended to try and catch my interest.
でも彼女は本当に好きなんだ。俺に話を合わせてくれていただけじゃないんだ。
At first I thought she was just playing along too, even though she obviously knew a lot about the topic. I was so happy whenever she knew that what I was talking about. I felt genuinely awful when she got mad at me. But she really does love it. She was angry at me as my advisor, I guess because it wasn't helping me understand what love is.
どうしよう。嬉しいや。
He's so cute. I pulled the blanket up and closed my eyes. I could still hear her making happy sounds. Mars, Venus, Cupid, she whispered their names one after another. I wanted this moment to last forever. Then I heard footsteps and felt a shadow fall over me. He still isn't ready to wake up. Aw, what should I do now? She leaned in close to my face and I completely froze up. I pretended to be asleep, waiting to see what she'd do next. Usually, if a girl stayed over here, she'd try to kiss me in secret or drape herself over me seductively to wake me up. If I left now, I'd have to leave the door unlocked, but should I really stay the night again? Well, I have to go to the set with him tomorrow anyway, so maybe it's okay. And I need to return the movies tomorrow too. As she mumbled to herself, I could tell she was wandering away from me. Get her. You should have grabbed her. I snuck a quick peek and saw her walking into the kitchen. After a moment, I heard the fridge open. I'm so hungry. You wouldn't mind if I just had a little something to eat, right? Normally she'd be thinking all this to herself, but since it's from his perspective, we have to know what she's thinking. I guess she hadn't eaten dinner either. When we finished our fourth movie, it was already past 7 o'clock. As I fell asleep, I guess she felt like she couldn't leave and had just stayed here waiting for me. She's the world's most professional advisor. I couldn't deny I was happy that she was still here. No Sillywood actress would care about locking the door if I was asleep. They'd just leave as soon as they felt like it. And here's my own personal advisor spending all her free time on me. I know it's just part of her job, but still.
でも、石像で遊ぶのは仕事じゃないもんな。
I couldn't help but smile. I really was starting to get hungry, so I decided I should get up and head to the kitchen. As I stood up, I decided it would be a good chance for us to make dinner together. I also hoped she'd be willing to talk a bit about mythology as a reward for studying those movies so hard today. That's cute. The next morning, okay, I'll go ahead and return the movies.
あ、うん。別に俺返しとくけど。
No, it's fine. I wanted to stop by my place first anyway. You just get as much rest as you can until it's time to perform. I'll meet up with you on the set.
行っちゃった。
Oh, I almost expected him to get possessive again. No, please stay with me type of thing, but no, he just let her go. He's maturing. After she left, I felt slightly lonely.
一緒にロケ現場行きたかったんだけどな。
But she kept telling me that I have to learn to rest properly, or I just keep dozing off. After we ate dinner, she forced me to take a bath and then shuffled me off to bed. I was so tired, I fell asleep as soon as my head hit the pillow. I didn't even wake up until morning.
女の子と何もせずに一晩明かしたのは初めてだな。
I was going to make that same comment too, but I didn't. Our whole time together, the moon never went that way. We didn't even kiss. I couldn't remember the last time that happened.
あれ
What was the strange feeling in my chest? Did I get a bit of a muffin stuck in my throat? That's funny. That's what they named the section after, was this feeling?
いや。俺もそろそろ出かける準備しようっと。
Despite still feeling slightly confused, I got ready to leave. I found my sunglasses still on the Mars statue. I felt another strange sensation in my chest. She put his sunglasses on it. That's funny. Another section, oh my goodness. All that's left is to loosen your restriction on marriage and allow him to date our members.
やっぱりそうよね。
A heavy sigh echoed around the interview room. I was having a weekly meeting with Raul's agent today, yet there was a heavy, almost oppressive atmosphere surrounding us. Both Raul's agent and I were feeling down for a very specific reason. The filming today had suffered more difficulties. Oh no.
ラウル、違うよ。そこはもっと甘い表情で落ち込んで、それじゃリストラされたビジネスマンだよ。
You just look pathetic.
前より良くなったけど、まだ違うな。一瞬しか映らないけど、そこはついに彼女を諦める大切なシーンなんだ。ほら、もう一回。
Raul's been receiving criticism after criticism numerous times today. He had to do multiple retakes for every scene. After a while, he caused a delay. As a result, all the scenes that don't require him to do any romantic acting are done. If watching movies and offering up tips and tricks wasn't enough, then all that's left is for Raul to experience the real thing. I think it'll go well if Raul has someone he can be with. He's changed lately.
お相手ね。
Why don't you just suggest her? For some reason, the agent looked at me, then sighed.
そんな人いるのかしら。
Well, I've compiled a list of potential members who are compatible with someone like Raul. Please take a look. I take out a list I've compiled with members, but then the agent just heaves a sigh.
本当、あなたは真面目なアドバイザーね。
Well, it's my duty. I like to do a good job. Plus, I'm the Cupid of love. My ration d'etre is to deliver love to as many people as I can. It's my duty.
あなたはラウルと付き合ってみたいとか思ったりしないの？
Well, at least she threw it out there. I apologize, but internal regulations explicitly prohibits advisors from dating or engaging with client members past our work. But if he's not a member, it's not a problem, right?
あら、そうだったの？最初に聞けばよかったわ。
The agent shrugs and starts flipping through the members list.
この子は神話好きな考古学研究者の子で、こっちは博物館に勤めてる子。それに読書好きの市議会議員の娘。ねえ。
Now that I'm thinking about it, she dated Shelby when he was a member, quote member. But I guess if you're dating the president, then that policy can be waived. Yes, all those members have had a background check and are more than suitable to Raul's wants and needs.
まあ、これならいいか。そろそろ観念した方がいいみたいね。
He's gonna go out with them and he's gonna be like, spending time with you is much more fun. The agent closes her eyes and pinches the bridge of her nose. Suddenly she looks exhausted. After a while, she nods to herself and perks back up.
わかったわ。もう少し私の方で身辺調査をして、問題なさそうであれば、ラウルに私から提案します。
Thank you for your consideration. All these members are interested in dating someone with marriage in mind. Please make that clear to Raul.
はいはい、肝に銘じるわ。
Glad that that's out of the way. Now Raul should be able to finally meet someone who he can connect with. I handpicked members that I thought would be a perfect matches for Raul. In truth, there's lots more who would be better fits, but the members I had in mind had gotten married before I was given the green light from Raul's agent. That's always the case. Anyways, the remaining 3 members might have some quirks, but I think that makes them all the more compatible with Raul. Once they meet and Raul opens himself up to the possibilities, love might bloom, I hope. Hold on. Suddenly, my stomach drops, like the ground beneath my feet has vanished from thin air. I feel like I'm floating high in the sky. but the ground is still beneath my feet. There's no physical difference, at least as far as I can tell. Currently, we're in Cupid Corp's interview room. It's my usual day-to-day workplace.
では、私はこれで。でもこの人たちもうまくいくかわからないし、続けてラウルに指導をお願いします。
Naturally, it's my pleasure. I saw the agent off while bowing. Things were difficult because of Raul's fame, but now that it's no longer an obstacle, things can progress. Finally, his agent is moving forward. This is for the best. So why do I feel like that? Why am I not happy for him? I thought she was going to say, like, she felt like God's presence or something. The slight drizzle of rain outside is making it difficult to see. I gaze out into the rain mindlessly, sipping my coffee across the table from my agent. Today's filming was cancelled due to the weather, still my agent called me in. I have a feeling she's going to want to talk about romantic acting.
交番じゃないといいんだけど。
No. I always try to do my best when it comes to a role, but right now I can feel I am just spinning my wheels. I feel stuck. I drink my coffee like a robot. Then I hear the clink of the mug as my agent puts her coffee cup down. She means business.
ラウル、次の恋のレッスンよ。
レッスン？
キューピッドコーポレーションの会員をあのアドバイザーさんから紹介してもらったの。正直まだ結婚は早いから婚活女性とのデートは私としては容認したくないんだけど、もう後がないじゃない。だからあなたさえ良ければ彼女たちとお見合いしてみなさい。
My agent takes out 3 sheets of paper and spreads them out before me. Each has a different Cupid Corp member. I don't even look at the details before turning to my agent.
先生がおすすめだって言った人なの？
ええ、そうよ。身元がしっかりしていて、あなたの趣味も理解してくれそうだって言っていたわ。それに私が調べた結果、彼女たちは別にシリウッドスターという肩書きにも興味はなさそうよ。だからきっとあなたのファンでもないわ。
先生がいいって言ったなら俺もいいよ。
そう。婚活中の女性がお相手だから結婚したくないって素振りは見せちゃダメよ。恋をして付き合ってくれるのは OK だけど、結婚はまあうまく逃げてくれると嬉しいわ。あなたはこれからの俳優なんだから。こんなことあのアドバイザーさんの前で言ったら本気で怒られるわね。バレないように気をつけなさい。さっきも釘を刺されたわ。
How dare you lie to Lynette?
分かってるよ。
I can date someone, I can even fall in love, but I can't risk any talk about marriage or getting married. Talk about difficult. Still, I get where my agent's coming from. I'm an action star who's been cast in a romance movie. I have to put in effort. The demographics are completely different, so I have to think about my image as an actor as well as my future. Because of that, I can't suddenly get married. I'm selling a dream. Plus, I don't want to get too involved in romance. I don't want to mess up my image for my agent either. She's so serious and earnest and always does her best for me. But I can't improve my acting if I don't learn how to fall in love. I guess that's my weakness as an experienced bass actor.
エマやペネロペみたいに恋してなくても上手に恋の演技ができたらよかったのに。
Honestly, I'm starting to think that the movie would be a bigger success without me. My acting just isn't good enough.
アマゾンでワニと戦う方がずっと楽だよ。
But sitting around complaining won't change anything. I have to step up or step down. Those are my only choices right now. That's why I've decided to rely on my teacher and follow her suggestions.
先生がいいと思って選んでくれた人ならきっといいに決まってる。やってみせなきゃ。
But I can't make myself look at their profiles. If I meet them and we go out, will things go better? I really hope so. The drizzle outside the window grew bigger and bigger as I thought about my dating life. Now that drizzle is a loud, spattering rain. I listened to the sound of the storm as I took another sip of coffee. Honestly, I really don't want to do this. Poor Raul. Today is the day that Raul will meet with the selected Cupid Corp members. Ahead of their date, I'll be meeting with Raul to review what he needs to focus on. Now, Raul, please repeat the dating tips that I taught you.
話をするときはスマホを見ない。神話のトークは控えめに。軽率に寝ちゃダメ。だよね。
The dating tips, don't casually sleep with them. Perfect. Someone's been paying attention.
そりゃ10回言われたらね。君はついてきてくれないの？
Chaperone. Well, as much as I would like to, I think that would kind of ruin the mood. I'd much rather allow love to happen spontaneously. I know, it's like, if you're going to just like be following them, it's like a class field trip or something.
そっか。わかった。君は本当に恋のキューピッドなんだね。
I think he's starting to have feelings for her. He doesn't like it. Always and forever. I nodded proudly, but Raul just sighed. Then he put on his sunglasses as his own way of getting excited about the dates.
君に引き止められたかったんだけどな。じゃあ、行ってくるよ。
Oh. He's like, I want you to be as interested in me as I am of you right now. Pardon? Stop him? But I'm a bridal advisor. My main goal is connecting others for dates, especially with Cupid Corp members. Oh no. Okay, so this is a save. No, it's not. Never mind, that's the next one. Okay, so the choice is stop him. But we're going to encourage him first. Time for you to go. You can't be late for your first date. Raul didn't seem motivated at all, so I tried my best to encourage him. He didn't seem to like that at all.
押されなくても分かってるよ。
Oh, he's so depressed. Raul glances at me, and for some reason he looks a bit hurt. He sighed and shook his head as if defeated, then silently he walked away. I hope things go well for him. I wanted to chaperone him since it's his first serious date, but most members aren't keen on having a third wheel advisor. Okay, I think we're going to go to the top and we're going to scold him. Stop that! I'm not used to automatically selecting yes for me. Okay. I'm going to scold him. I'm sure he's just feeling a bit out of sorts. First date jitters and all. But you'll be okay, Raul. Have confidence. Raul didn't seem encouraged or enthusiastic at all. All he did was look at me, nod, then sigh as if giving in. Then he silently walked away. Alright. He wants us to stop him. Well, let's stop him then. She doesn't want this either. Stop him. For a moment, I almost stopped Raul from leaving, but then I yanked back my outstretched hand. Raul watched the entire action. When I looked up at him, our eyes met.
Oh.
At least he noticed. Because I thought we were actually going to stop him. Why'd you stop? Raul tenses like he was about to say something to me. He even looks like he's about to turn to face me, but I step back. Ah, good luck. Please come back to the office once you're done. I'll be eagerly awaiting your report. I don't like this. If the option is to stop him, why did they not stop him? It's so annoying. Whatever.
いい報告できるように頑張るよ。
Annoying. Whatever. Raul walks away from me with an unmotivated expression. I watched him leave, my eyes occasionally darting to my hand. Why did I reach out? Why does my hand want to grab the hem of his shirt? This isn't about me. I should go and pray for his date success right now. I wanted to chaperone him since it's his first serious date, but most members aren't keen on having a third wheel advisor. Of course, that's only natural. Having an advisor there would definitely make it difficult for love to flourish. I pray things go well for him as I return to my work desk. You should have stopped him. After I left, I came to the designated meeting place. I saw a woman standing there with a thick book. I guess that's my first date. A female archaeologist and researcher.
お待たせ。どうも、ラウルです。
ああ、あなたが CC 会員のラウル・アコニットさんですか。はじめまして。
はじめまして。それでどこ行きますか？
そうですね。では博物館に行きましょうか。あなたは神話好きだと聞いております。
Aww.
あ、俺のプロフィールシート見てくれたんだ。嬉しいな。
ええ、あなたが夢見がちな神話好きだというのはよく存じております。ですが、オイスターをサタンと称するのはあまり良くないと思いますよ。
That's funny. So what? Archaeologist, she's not sure how their interests are going to connect.
はあ、すみません。
それとアンブロシアを食べたいですって。あれは神の食べ物ですから、人間が食べたいなどと不遜なことを言わないでください。
Disrespectful.
すみません。
私、神話の神々やそれを記した当時の人間に敬意を払えない人は嫌いなんです。では、行きますよ。
Why did you agree to this? Oh my goodness. She continued to talk at me before taking off. She has a habit of pushing up her glasses. Combined with some other stuff, I think it's best to call her a highbrow lady.
神話好きって言ってもいろんなタイプがいるよな。
I get the feeling that she could outtalk anyone at the society, including me. She'd win every argument we'd had. She'd win or she won. Okay. But she's an archaeologist after all. I'm sure she's done some serious research and hates amateurs like me. From her perspective, I'm just a scrub who likes myths. I'm the kind of person who's more fiction over fact.
怖いな。
He doesn't like it. I don't see how this can turn out into any kind of romance, but my teacher recommended her, so I should at least try. I think about what to say carefully so I don't get yelled at as I draw behind. He's like, I don't want to get yelled at. She doesn't care that you're a superstar. And after that, I went on dates with the other recommended members, one after another. First was the highbrow archaeologist, next the bookworm, and then finally the museum worker. My agent said that they all had similar interests as me and were background checked, but...
ポセイドンと会った？バカなことを言わないでください。彼は最高神ゼウスに次ぐ力を持った神です。そんな人と話すことはもうありません。しかもあなた、歩く距離が近すぎです。ゼウスにでもなったつもりですか？失礼します。
Oh my goodness. Jeez.
パパの言ってたことと違う。全然お姫様扱いしてくれないじゃない。イケメンでもつまんない。もう帰ろうっと。
Oh, I'm like, I don't think this is one Cupid recommended, but because it wasn't one of the three. City council member's daughter. Yeah, I don't know why she recommended that one.
私のプロフィールシート書いたの執事のセバスチャンだから本気にしないでよね。See you never.
Oh my goodness. A little brat.
私は神話とかはあんまり。私の仕事は美術品の点検とその制作者への敬意を払うことですし。ごめんなさい。仕事の連絡が来ちゃったわ。今日はここで。また連絡しますね。
Just like that, my string of dates were over really, really fast.
でもよかった。俺も帰りたかったから。
Aw, even though he wanted this and he wants to go home, he's like emotionally drained now. Just talking to this woman had exhausted me. It's tired enough to be surrounded by fans, but talking to women who aren't actually interested in me is exhausting. I didn't have any fun. I had thought that I couldn't fall in love unless I went through the steps, but it's not worth it.
でも無理だよ。もっと楽しい時間を 俺は知ってるんだもん。
It's my time spent with Lynette. Time always flies when I talk to her, plus we can enjoy talking about mythology too.
俺、別に神話トークしたかったわけじゃないのかな。
My conversation with the archaeologist was more in-depth than when I talked to Lynette about myths. She was incredibly specialized in a way I'll never be. Her background with research was stunning, and she knew so much. But I didn't have fun at all. I thought that talking with Lynette had been enjoyable because we could discuss mythology together. Now that I've met someone else who could discuss myths with, I'm realizing that's not why I like her.
きっと俺のままでいられるのが嬉しかったんだろうな。
This feeling is different than the person I am with the crew or Silhouette actresses, with my fans or my society friends. Lynette never made fun of who I am. She never made fun of my opinions. She always smiles and listens patiently. Then she shares her own thoughts and opinions too. I always felt happy. I might have a completely different point of view, but that's exciting. It makes me want to debate with her all night long. And she sees who I really am. She doesn't see me as Raul Aconite, movie action star, or a mythology enthusiast. To her, I'm just Raul. She doesn't hold back with me at all, and that makes me feel so happy.
早く彼女に会いたいな。
Aww. Are you going to recognize it yet? I feel a desire to go see her and talk with her, to sit with her and see her face. I want to go to her right away.
そうだ、デートが終わったら報告しに来いって言ってたんだった。
That's cute. He's thinking he wants an excuse to go. They ended earlier than planned, so I should go to her right now. She probably won't be happy that the dates ended so soon, but that's not my problem right now. They all left early anyways. I'll just have to listen to her and follow her directions again. After all, is it so bad to want this? I nearly run to Cupid Court. My strides are so big. He's so cute. Maybe this is what love actually is, or maybe I'm making a mistake. I don't really know. I've never been in love. This is also new to me. But when I'm with her, I can feel my acting improve. She's my advisor, my personal Cupid of love. I can't help but break into a run so I can hurry back to her. Oh, you should notice if you notice it. Back to my desk. Chi was using my lap as his resting place as I gently petted him. I was attempting to work but felt a bit dazed. I'm feeling restless over Raul's dates. I can hardly focus. I started fidgeting as I pet Chi to distract myself. Then the email notification pops up. This is from... The sender is one of Raul's dates for today. It's the museum worker. From a professional standpoint, she's intelligent, mature, and quite beautiful. It seems like a natural match, and yet she's turning him down. He's refusing to see Raul ever again. I suppose that's the difficult part about making a successful match. The first date always decides the person's impressions. If that falls through, there's no saving the match no matter what. I bet she'd have success if she wasn't dating someone from the Parasite 5. Still, I had high hopes that Raul would find some success with her, but I suppose high hopes means devastating disappointments. Though I think the feeling that I'm feeling isn't necessarily disappointment. Is it happiness? What is this? I feel relief. Relief that Raul's date fell through, but I shouldn't be feeling this way. I shake my head and check my inbox again. While wondering about his other 2 dates, another email appears. Raul? As if I'd summoned him, the email was from Raul. He finished his last date and is on the way to Cupid Corp right now.
She
looked at me and blinked slowly. Our eyes met and I tilted my head to the side in mild surprise. The dates ended rather fast, didn't they? A sinking feeling settled into my stomach as I put Chi on my desk. I go and reserve the meeting room. All the while, I prayed for some good news from Raul. Nope. Well, his good news is he wants to be with you. But as I expected, the feeling from my stomach was unfortunately correct.
いやー、みんな逃げられちゃった。
He says that like, sorry, not sorry. It's not funny, Raul. Raul arrived in the interview room with a big, flashy smile. I felt both weak and angry, which led me to scolding him full stop. What happened? What did you do wrong?
それがね
Raul explained the course of events from start to finish. The first date with the archaeologist was a bust. She took mythology quite seriously and was offended by Raul's manner. The second date with the city council member's daughter was difficult too. She wanted a prince and found Raul lacking. The first date with the museum worker was a mismatch. She wasn't interested in this and ended up going back to work as well. That was the results of Raul's dates. So she went back to work instead of finishing the date. That means she rejected him from the start. Matches only bring up a work or family emergencies when they want to end the date early. That's another thing. It reminds me of The Sims in the new expansion pack. You can end date abruptly. You can pretend to have an emergency and leave. Really funny. And they can't too. They can autonomously leave your date, which has happened once when my sim was like, I didn't make her be mean to him, but she just mean to him, just straight up. And he's like, you know what? I'm out of here. Usually they follow up with a rejection email or just stop responding outright. I can't believe that someone who was so serious about mythology couldn't keep up with someone like Raul. You said that you had a difference of opinions, right? Did the conversation get heated?
まあそうだね新しい知識を得られたのは良かったけど下手なこと言って怒らせないかビクビクしてたよ
So I see. This is why hobbies often become an obstacle at matches. You should tell her everything that you were feeling up until you ran to her workplace. I think she would be happy. In the long term, things don't usually smooth out, but in the beginnings, it's difficult to truly assess the situation. There are lots of couples who end up fighting over the smallest difference of opinion. All three women were so different, so I thought at least one of them would work out for Raul. Raul Aconite, the obsessed parasite and action-oriented Sillywood star, an innocent and friendly man. I matched him with those members with the hope that they'd find some level of compatibility. If this is the case, then the others would be...
それよりさ今日もうちに来るよね
He just outright asked her, huh? Excuse me? I let out a soft gasp as I felt his words tickle my ear. I hadn't noticed Raul moved across to sit next to me. He picked me up and put me on his lap. Oh my goodness. The movement was so smooth that I felt like he'd planned it in advance.
俺さ今日神話の話は君とするのが一番楽しいんだって気づいたんだそれにこの間来てもらった時は寝ちゃったからさねえ今日おいでよ
Raul smiles innocently, though it feels like he's pleading for my attention. I think he must not have considered me saying no.
君がうちに来たら話したいことがいっぱいあるんだねえいいでしょ
Raul tickles my throat like he's scratching a cat's chin. Oh my goodness. It feels intimate since I'm still on his lap. This is the kind of thing genuine lovers would do. He still doesn't understand that you can't do these things casually. I scolded him for it too. He absolutely deserved it. And in my anger, I turned away. No, I'm not going back with you. You're just slipping back into old habits.
え
You said you were giving up on casual encounters. What's with your attitude right now? He put me on his lap without my permission. He touched me without asking. That's not something people who aren't together do. You didn't get a single thing that I said. If this is your way of demonstrating what you've learned, then I'm not going.
しちゃダメなの
Of course not. I can't believe that was your intent. Why didn't you say that?
だって他の人とやっちゃダメって言っただけで君とはしちゃいけないって言われてないでしょ
Oh my goodness. She is in the other people category. Raul smiles and moves his lips closer to my ear.
それに2回目の後も怒られてないし君だってすごく良さそうだったよ
Excuse me? Raul had a point. I already did the deed with him twice. In that moment, I got so embarrassed that I was speechless. At night, having sex with him felt so special. It felt so separate from my work as an advisor, like a special treat. After that, I got really focused on helping his acting and put that night in the past. I should have scolded him for it. I needed to make up for lost time now and instruct him better. Then Raul put his hand on my chin. I softly gasped. Raul's face is so intimately close to mine. Then he tries to kiss me. The love-struck face. The memory of the past moment comes back in my face, warms with a blush. Yank the file from my table to block his kiss, then I smack Raul with it.
いてなんでガードしてるの
Because we can't do this, Raul. You need to understand. I get off his lap and pick up the now scattered file. I won't be going with you. I told you we can't do stuff like this in the beginning. You just can't casually treat me like this. If you want to learn about love, you need to abstain. You need to practice a bit of abstinence. Do you understand? I know, you can't just turn on the charm and make her go with you. I'm going back to work. Have a pleasant evening. I want you to be in love with her first. I leave the interview room with a hand over my heart heart's beating so fast I could hear my pulse in my burning ears. What's this feeling? I can't do this anymore. It feels as if I'm the one who's in love. No, this is just a misunderstanding. I'm just confused. That past pleasure was just that, pleasure. Nothing more, nothing less. I take deep breaths to help me collect myself. I'll be fine. I can calm down and gather my thoughts again. Now I need to find someone who's not me that Raul can fall for. I need someone he can be head over heels in love for. But if someone that wonderful was a member, they would probably get married fairly quickly. That sort of member would be fought over by all the other advisors. Cupid Corps members typically are busy lost workers who have no time to meet people in their day-to-day. That's why they make decisions very quickly. I have to take too much time to lecture them on Raul's quirks. What are my other options? Surely there's a member I can recommend. I let my mind switch back to work as I return to my desk. I work on building a new list of people and emailed it to the agent. Unfortunately, she rejected all of them. What a waste. And he needs to work on how he treats you, I guess. You can't just go and charm her. That way it doesn't work anymore. Now what are you going to do? I left the Cupid Court building by myself headed home feeling confused. I never thought she would reject me like that. Usually I'm the one doing all the asking, but even then I've never been rejected.
でもそっか断られることもあるんだよな
It feels like the obvious thing, but it's never occurred to me. Being rejected has left me feeling confused and hurt. Maybe that is why I'm so bad at romantic acting. All my expectations are different from everyday people. Normal people don't fight Amazonian crocodiles. They don't get lost in the desert. They don't sleep around this much.
俺結構普通の方だと思って生きてきたんだけどな
I thought I was fond of myths more than people, but after doing all that matchmaking, I think that's not the truth.
ってことは俺今後は絶対彼女と寝ちゃいけないってこと
If you're paying attention, she said that's fine if you're in love. You should work on that first. Never again?
それは嫌だな
But am I really sad just because I can't have sex with her? Or am I sad because I want to fall asleep next to her and wake up with her in the morning? I don't know. I honestly still don't get my feelings. What I do get is my desire to not go home alone, but I don't want anyone else in my bed tonight.
でも追い出されちゃったしな
Oh well, I should just go home and practice my romantic acting again. I feel like if I can move past my feelings, then my acting will improve. I head to the main street and get in my car. Then the feeling of someone looking at me tickles the back of my neck.
Mhm.
I turn around, but there's no one there.
気のせいだったかな
That feeling is odd to say the least. Still, I hop in my car and rest my foot over the gas pedal. I sense someone in my rearview mirror and shudder. I think about how creepy that feeling is as I drive off and head home. Oh no. Is it a cliffhanger? It is. Dang it. A mythical accident. Oh my goodness. Alright. Well, we're probably not going to figure out who the stalker is until later, but, well, things are finally changing for Raul now. He can't just, charmingly seduce her anymore. So maybe now that he's been rejected, he'll start to understand. Okay, so we got a longer episode this time, so that's good. How many more sections do we got? That was an hour and a half and 9 more. So hopefully we can finish in like 3 episodes. Maybe I'll try to squeeze it into 2. I don't know. Depends what the CGs are, I guess, because if the CGs are good, I want to use them, then I'll stop and use them. I don't know how many episodes are in the other reads because I don't have my my website pulled up or anything, so I can't compare as of yet, but I feel like Raul is going to be a little bit longer just because I did spend only an hour in the first 2 episodes when I could have done an hour and a half. But it's fine. It's whatever. Anyways, if you guys did enjoy it, drop a like down below and or subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.